Hello, and welcome to Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha. I am here to help you in your life's dance. And Happy New Year to everybody. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Paula. I'm on YouTube and Instagram. I decided to go live on Instagram at the last minute here. So I am just wanting to be here to help everybody go through what they're going through. So if you have any questions or anything like that, please put it through so that I can answer it. And if Chandra, if you're here, I hope that you got my message about your puppy. I know that there's a lot of animals that are choosing to move forward into a new home, or, they're just freaked out by the energies that's out there right now. So going into this, that, we're all coming into things. And I, being an intuitive medium, I've been tapping into a lot of the energies that are coming forward in this new year. And it's, oh my gosh, if you're ready for this year to come in, I want you to remember that, it's going to be a year where we're not going to like everything. We're not going to like what's happening. We're not going to like who's doing it. And so if you can see the bigger picture, that we're going to have some of this, destruction to creation. And Shiva's energy is that energy, destruction to creation. So is a lot of the energies out there. And we went from an 8-year universal year of the world, is, doing numerology here, that it was an 8-year, the infinity sign, as above, as below, doing that inner work. Well, we're in a universal 9-year this year. And this universal 9-year is a year of endings with new beginnings. So remembering that you cannot have an ending without a new beginning, and you can't have a new beginning without some kind of form of ending. And I've been watching a lot on, social media. When I do my posts, I kind of do a little scanning, type of thing. And there's a lot of people who are going through their homes, kind of relieving themselves of certain things. And I know I just finally took some boxes, because I didn't want to take them to Goodwill. I didn't want to just take them to just nobody, because there were some family heirlooms in them, that I took them to a local thrift store, because I wanted them to be, at least, if somebody wanted them, that they would be taken care of, instead of just into the big industry. Because I know one of our local thrift stores here does a lot of work in our school system. They support a lot of things. They support our community. And so I wanted to give to that. So going into this, remembering that as you go forward and as you do this work and as you follow through with what you want to be, this might not be the year to have great ambitions for like resolutions and stuff. But, it's going to be something like, I have somebody who I know mutually here that, they decided to quit drinking. And they've just celebrated a good time of it. They planned this before the year ended. And, so they're making some great movements. So this is a year for that kind of change. It's a year for that kind of knowing, if you're willing to do some work. And I know for me, the food that I'm intaking, that's part of my bigger picture. Like my husband found, thank you very much, Paula. Thank you. I'm grateful to be back. I was grateful for the break, because it was interesting, because, if I would have done my shows, they would have been on Christmas Day and New Year's Day. And I figured, who's going to want to watch me anyways? And I was down in Florida. And, but I want to go back to what I was talking about here, and then I'll talk a little bit about where I was at, and because it'll segue into this a little bit more. But, it was one of those things that, coming into this, that when we were going places, my husband actually found locally a place that will grind their own wheat. And it's more, I don't want to say it's organic, but it's more cleaner than the grocery store wheat. And so you can get it to where it's white rye and all that kind of stuff. And they're actually going to be getting another mill that they're going to do separately for the gluten-free, people. And so, they care that much. And we found it, and they're actually local, but they're online. And I will actually try to find their thing online, because you can order online. But they're they're very much wanting to be more holistic in their way. And that's the thing, that it's time to really come into that holistic. What can you do? Like, I don't go and buy my honey from the grocery store. I buy it from the local person who actually brings in the local honey. And it's like, try to find those things, get more holistic about your life if you can this year, because if you're going to make resolutions like, I'm going to work out, well, working out is going to be a blessing, but instead of saying, I want to work out more, say, I want to take care of my body more. And so if you can, that energy of taking care of your body will make it this year a little bit easier, because if you're standing up into yourself this year, you're going to be able to bounce back from a lot of the stressors that are going to be happening, because things are going to be happening with our government, our money, our there's just I'm just seeing a lot of this story that's going to be happening, and I'm going to be channeling Mikael here later, and probably in another 15-ish minutes or so. But coming into this, that when you're going into this, my intuition is telling me that we're going to be doing some big deep cleaning out. And if you can do that with your home a little bit, I know for me, I'm going to do some more deep cleaning here. I getting home, move some furniture around, and we did some deep vacuuming after the Christmas stuff went down, and that kind of stuff. That when we go into who we are and what we're doing, sometimes we have to allow the going out to come in, and being that this is a universal 9 year, that if we can help gracefully do the endings, it's like, if you're feeling like you need movement in your life, then move pictures around on your wall. If you need movement in your life, remember that you can move furniture. You can move this person furniture that was in this bedroom over into the front room, and the front room furniture into the bedroom. It's okay to move things around. And if we can do that. And I was down in Florida, where it was in Sarasota area, and they got hit by the 3 hurricanes, or they one went by them, another one kind of went over them, and another one went through them. Right, the last one kind of went through them. And it was interesting to see, because a lot of people, when you're living in a hurricane area, you just kind of go, well, it's a thing, it's kind of like tornado season. It's not necessarily that it's any easier or negotiable, but you just kind of get like, like for us, we kind of, get ready for winter by, covering up the outside spigots, and you just do certain things because the colder season is coming. And you do the same thing when summer's coming, right? So you do these things, and that's one thing I noticed down there. But the one thing that was very impactful to me was when you're driving along and you're seeing the trees that had less leaves on them, because they basically got blown off, right? And then you're seeing these palm trees that basically had no tops to them because they were blown off. But the one thing that was miraculous is that the palm trees had new growth coming out of them, right? And what a metaphor for life, that through the destruction of the wind, destruction of the life, destruction of that, the new growth will come back. The thing is, though, having family down there, we went to the beach together, and they were saying, oh, look how clean the sand is. Look, they got the beach ready pretty much right away. And you'd forget how impactful storms can be, right? That actually they would have to go through and clean. They even said that the sand seems like it's coming down deep, so they had to go in and really clean out the sand. And we went to this one house that's right along the beach, along Turtle Beach, when we went down there, because my father-in-law passed away, and this wonderful woman let us stay at their house. She had this big house, and she was an elderly woman, and she just says, let them come and stay at my house. Don't get an apartment or hotel for them. Let them stay at my house. And it was on Turtle Beach. My husband actually saw turtles coming up one morning. Well, we went and looked at the house. Sadly, she has passed since then, and the house is up for sale. But we went in the back, and the sand, we used to be able to go out and over, and we used to be able to see over the beach line, right? But there was so much sand that blew up that you couldn't even see the highlight of the beach. And then you couldn't even open up the gate because there was so much sand that blew up. And their house looked like it didn't get much damage, but like she said, she had hurricane windows in. She had all this stuff prepped up because she lived on the beach, and you do this extra prepping. But, looking at the normal beach, where all the hotels and stuff are, there was sides of hotels that had no windows in them. And they were boarded, but they weren't necessarily boarded up a whole bunch because, you can only board up so much. And, like I said, that there was signs that were still not in there, like a Wendy's sign or a grocery store sign, there's just nothing there because the wind had taken it out. So if you're thinking about the hurricane, that's going to be the metaphor for how maybe our new government might come in here in the United States. Come in is more like a hurricane, and then it's going to simmer down. We're going to get used to it. We're going to get into this. So coming into this, we're getting into, those nuances of life happening. And I'm really getting a feel that, it's not necessarily that we need to stand in fear of it. We need to stand in acknowledgement of how am I going to make this decision? How am I going to interact with what I'm hearing on the news? How am I going to hear this happening? Yes, things aren't going to feel right. I was watching something on one of my social medias, and everything with a grain of salt. But it's like saying that something wasn't going to be happening, or somebody wasn't going to be supported, and the fires down in California right now. Oh my, yeah, I saw something about them. They started yesterday, and it's so impactful how Mother Nature, and I'm gonna use quotation marks here, Mother Nature is really stirring us up, because I'm going to tell you that it's not all, and I'm your truth is your truth. I'm not a conspiracist, but I have an understanding that, we are not alone in the weather. Mother Nature, Mother Earth is not necessarily all in control of weather. That it is some other people that are doing this and playing with it, because I'm hearing this actually intuitively. There's just too many darn people on this planet. And COVID didn't do what it needed to do. So I'm not going to be, you have your truth. I am just somebody who's voicing an understanding that I have, and I'm being told. So going into this, that, be who you are and understand that, like for me, when I stand outside, I just ask my body to filter out the negatives so that I can be as healthy as I can be. Doing those things that you're having to go forward with, ask your body to integrate into the energies of the now, you know, integrate into who you are, integrate into the new beginnings. The mantra that I would use right now, and I have been using, is, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. And also that, I'm integrating into the energies of the now so I can be my greater me. I've also been in gratitude a lot lately. I'm grateful for, a bed to sleep in. I'm grateful for my home. I came home to a home. I was with my mother-in-law. I love her. I love her home. It's comfortable. But at the same time, though, I came home to my cat, came home to my dog, came home to my home. It's like, and the things, it's not that I need the things around me, but the things I have, I love. And so how do I negotiate that? Well, I've already given something away to someone at a session that I had yesterday because it needed to go. It wanted to go, but I didn't want to just put it in a box and let it go to off. Little bit of control thing here, but I'm working on that, right? And that's the thing, is we got to really work on the control issues that we have, controlling this, controlling that. And so be aware that when you are working on something and when you're doing something, that you're going to have these triggers. And And I'm going to go back to what I said in that some information that came through our guides to do is that, if you feel like you can journal, okay, feel like you can journal that, many of us want to journal words, right? We want to journal, let's say, I am struggling. Okay. So, you can read that, right? But sometimes we just need to let the emotions out. So do something like, so I wrote basically here, I am struggling. But did I care about my penmanship? Did I care about how things are at? No, I was able to release it. Now I'm going to say over it, and I am grateful for my life. Okay. So can you read that? No. But I wrote it, and I know that there's something in me that as I'm expressing this energy, as I'm expressing this knowings, it's safe. It's safe. It's safe. It doesn't have to be, do I have to worry about somebody reading this? No. But it's getting that emotion out. And sometimes our emotions don't necessarily want words in. So I'm going to cancel, clear, delete that. Cancel, clear, delete that, because I'm done with struggle, right? I'm done with struggle. So I'm done with that struggle. So I wrote that over that. I'm done with struggle. Okay. So how can you negotiate what you're feeling this year? And that's going to be a big one. We're going to feel a lot. We're going to grieve a lot. We're going to be engraced with knowing that life is going to be something that we're not always going to be in agreement with. So how do you negotiate the emotions? Release them. Whenever you can, release them. And I can tell you, doing something physical helps do the physical emotions that we have. So don't worry about what you write or your penmanship, or if it's spelt right. It doesn't matter. It's just you're releasing the emotion as you have it. So coming into this, that we're actually the Chinese New Year. We're at the end of the dragon year, because the Chinese dragon year was this. So the roaring of the dragon. How can you fly? How can you be magical with yourself? How can you negotiate these magicness? How can you get on the wings and use your elements? The elementals were really strong this year. I don't know if you felt it, but I felt it with me. And like I had a client the other day, and she had a lot of hot flashes in her, and so I talked to her about the fire element of herself. That she had a lot of fire inside of her because she was agitated a lot. She was in struggle a lot. She was in that agitation mode and grief, and she had some really big drama that she had last year. So she's burning that up because of worry and stuff. So check in with the elements of your body and see if you're in rhythm with it. Are you too much into fire? Are you too much into water? Are you too much into air? Are you too much into earth or water? Our bodies have these elements in them, fire, water, and sometimes we need a little bit of salt to help too much water, right? So like for me, I've been taking really good salts, the Celtic salts, the Himalayan Baja salts, whatever you can, the more mineralized salts, and just do a little bit of salt in the morning so that my body can negotiate the water that I drink and get it so the cells can be supported into because the water surrounds the cells. But if the nutrients can't get in because there's that barrier there, well, the salt and the minerals of the salts help the water get into your cells, and you're not so thirsty. So coming into this, be in that greaterness of you, and find how you can work with the elements, because we're coming into the Chinese New Year of the snake. So the snake is about using our instincts, because sometimes you can't see, especially when you're shedding out old skin. The snake can't really see, right? And it really can't, it doesn't have legs to run, but it can slither. So how can you slither through your life and not necessarily be in the empowerment of standing upright and seeing. But a snake, have you ever seen a snake climb a tree? It uses its skills that it has. So how can you use the skills that you have? And like I have a teacher that is teaching a grade. She ended up taking a contract, but it was in a grade that she's not really excited about. She loves teaching first grade, and then she's teaching pre-K, and so it's a little bit of a strain for her. And like I told her, I said, there's a part of you that knows what to do. And that's the thing is that there's a part of us all that know what to do. And that's that instinctual part of us. That's that intuitional part of us. We all have intuition, right? We all have intuition. So trusting that instinctual part of us this year will be very important. That, we may have the instinct to get gas now, even though we still have, 3/4 of a tank. Well, maybe we end up getting told, or we end up having to take a spontaneous drive that's farther. And if we would have had a full tank, we wouldn't have stressed out about getting gas before we left. And so use your instinctual knowings about things that, and like my friend who's moving from a place that she's been in for a very long time into another place that actually is going to be better for her future, but there's going to be pluses and minuses about it, like all changes. That, we're in the middle of this and that. So how can we negotiate going through these changes? Well, grief is going to be a big part of it. Disappointment, like I said, and a lot of these different stories are going to be hitting us. Flexibility is going to be the key of the story of this year, right? Flexibility is the theme. And not taking everything so seriously, because some of the things that are happening are called distractions. We have distractions that are going to distract us from, from the main story that needs to be happening. And so when we have these distractions that are happening, we get caught up in them, right? That, it's like this fire down in California. Oh God, my love is with people losing their homes. And oh my gosh, the stories that are going on down there, but can we get caught up in that story? Because, maybe somebody set the place on fire, so it would distracted us from the story that that's happening somewhere back in the government, right? So find a balance if you can. Honor what's happening. Really look at what's happening. Send love where you can. Send whatever you can, if it's something really local and you need to get involved, get involved. But remembering keeping a part of you aware that there's something bigger out there happening. And as we go forward, we may find that the people, hi Kim, thank you for being here. That you may find that as these distractions are happening and as things are happening, that we're going to be getting, the powers that be in this planet, are very human. Well, there's star beings that are in control too, but the ego part of this story that I'm trying to talk about, that their idea of what they want is going to be shifting out, because us humans aren't as naive, that's the word I want to use, naive as we have been before. And so we can't have the old saying, the wool pulled over our eyes, right? So don't be just the sheep led to the water just because the guardian says to. Be really aware of the decisions you're making, and remembering that our attitude, oh my gosh, our it's okay to negotiate what's in front of you, the emotions that you are. When you get that news that you really need to just breathe and cry, get in and cry with it, get in and feel it. And that's okay, but don't stay there if you can, because you never know what the world is going to bring you. And that's the ideal right now. We're in a great manifesting time. And if we keep going over the story of what's happening, the negativeness of it or whatever it is, like for me, when I was living with a man who was very depressed and in a story, and things were always my fault, I really had to be careful of that self. Well, why is everything my fault? Because that's resistance. And when we have resistance, it's like I practiced my way out of it, saying, well, it's not my fault. I'm free from it being my fault. I'm moving forward. I'm doing what I should be doing. I'm calling forward. I am honoring the decisions that we need to make together, but I'm actually honoring moving forward. And so be careful of the intentions that you're having, and how quiet whispers of resistance right now can be very impactful on the flow of your life coming to you, because we don't really know. We really do not know what the full picture is going to be until we live it, right? We don't know what the full impact of the next 4 years are going to be until we're done with those 4 years. And so we don't know truly what's going to happen. And I'm going to tell you that there's people in control that need to be taken out of control. And there's people who have been running things that don't need to be running that industry, right? So I'm done with labeling things and having the name of the scenario, because sometimes it's like, don't shoot the messenger, because the message is what's important, not the messenger. So, be careful of how you label it's that person right now, because that person might be just the messenger of the movement. And so be ready for that. And, I'm getting the feeling that Mikael wants to come in here now soon. So coming into this, that be who you are and understand that as we're walking into this year, it is going to be a tremendous year, because you cannot have endings without new beginnings. And, as we're walking forward, life is going to be an interesting place. So, like for me, I'm stocking up a lot on some of my flowers and my different things. And, yes, I can't stock up on vegetables necessarily, but I can tell you I'm really thinking about how I'm going to, let's say, do lettuce in a pot, or onions in a pot, or something like that, so that things are more readily available, so I can actually bring them on the back porch when it gets colder and still keep a garden going. We do have a garden space, and I'll do my beets, and I'll do a lot of that kind of stuff out there, because beets are really good, and I'd like to can beets this year. I grew up canning, but it's like part of me wants my grandma and my mom to help me, because I used to do it as family. But again, wanting to get over that, because it's not necessarily the way it was, it's the way it's going to be. So as we go forward here, remembering that how we are in ourselves. And I am feeling as a human here that the Mandela effect has been going forward. So remembering that if you've heard something, like I heard the other day, that I thought the bald eagle was part of the energy of that the bald eagle is representation of the United States since I've been born, actually. And then I heard that through the news that the bald eagle was now voted in as our bird that represents the United States. Okay, but remembering that this is the dimensional shift that's happening. So we're going to be feeling like these layovers of different worlds are going to be coming in, and the dimensional understanding. So if you're feeling like time is shifting, if you're feeling like that took a long time to get done, well, think about that. Was it a long time in this dimension, or a long time in the other dimension? Or you might feel like that it didn't take very long to get to where I was going. So then in another dimension, did you move into that understanding? And so dimensions to me, and I'm going to use, maybe this is what I can talk about next week, is the dimensionals. What is actually a dimension? Because Dimensions to me in my language is just the walls that represent the different timelines that my spirit has been on. And so that dimension might be like I'm here in this world doing my show, doing this. Now in another dimension, in another reality, maybe 3 realities over, they're doing dinner because they're a little bit earlier in time or later in time, and they've already done the show. So going into this, you may feel like this evolution or this shift is coming up. So that's okay if you're feeling that, because that is going to be the reality of us, is we're going to be able to walk from one dimension to another in that understanding. And that's not necessarily this year, that might be another 3 or 4 years from now. But a lot of us that are tuned in, a lot of us that are understanding of these realities might be feeling this shift right now, kind of like me. I mean, actually, it was what, 3 years ago, I think. 3 years ago, I was really shifting dimensions a lot. And I mean, I would be like driving down the road and all of a sudden there'd be a car in front of me. And I'm like going, or I'd be at a light and all of a sudden somebody would be walking in front of me. And when the light turned green, and I'm like going, wow. And so I really had to start mentioning, in this reality, in this timeline, this physical body, I'm in this dimension doing what I'm doing in front of me, which was driving or doing something. And I usually did that when it was more cause and effect of importance, like driving or walking or cooking or, whatever that was, right? So coming into this, that it is time for us to really understand that there is balance, there is grace, there's this knowing. But the more we align with our energies of this understanding, that we can actually do and have the life that we want, but remembering that it takes a little while for the universe to bring it forward for us. And I think this is a good time for Mikael to segue in. So again, Mikael is a star being. This is the skull that represents him. Your truth is your truth. You can believe that I channel or don't channel. But one thing I ask for you is to hear the message that is being told to you. And then if you can, discern it into your truth. Get what you need out of it and leave the rest. I'm just here. The beings that I channel are here to support you in your life's journey. And if they can give you a message that will be helpful, that's all the better for you, right? So coming into this, be empowered with who you are and remembering that I am just a perspective. I am just an understanding. I am just a knowing of certain things in my understanding. Somebody can say I'm a conspiracist. Some people can say that I'm spreading untruths. Somebody can say that I'm a sinner. Whatever it is, that's their perspective. But I want to give you the understanding that you can have what you are. And I am just here to maybe spread a little bit of more understanding across this world. And I want you to understand that, you're empowered. You are empowered to make the choices that you are. You're empowered to be you. You're empowered to love yourself. You're empowered to believe in the language that you're using. If somebody's telling you that's not the way it happened, well, it may not have happened that way, but I believe it happened that way. And I'm going to take what you're saying with some understanding. And then at the same time, kind of believe what I understand until I get further information. I'm giving Mikael time to get here because he's traveling from a long distance here. Because he's a star being of a lot of council members. If you know anything about Bashard, Mikael and Bashard kind of come from the same region of the star beings area, and they have a lot of the deeper understandings. Bashard has been coming on this planet a lot longer, been channeled in a lot longer than Mikael has, and so he's still starting to get that language. And remembering when a person channels, I am the physical being who is channeling the being. And so with that, my mind has to align with what they are saying. So they discern through. So if they're using some of my language, it's because it's coming through my understanding. I'm not filtering it necessarily. I'm a free channel, but yet at the same time, though, that it is part of me that needs to say this is okay. Because if they say something that is totally out of alignment with me, I will not channel them. Okay. So with that, give me a second here. So Mikael is a being who is here to support us in our love and in our light. And as he comes in, he is going to be giving some guidance for what we're going to be going through and who we are to be. Hello, loved ones. You have come through the holiday season of your planet, and what a gift that was. Even though people have not always been in alignment to love in that time frame. We are here in the new 2025 year of this planet, and it is a miraculous year because of the fact that you cannot have more transmission of life and flow of change than you will in this year. Yes, you're going to have other years after this that are going to have some change coming in, but the thing is, so this is the time where you are leaving the old stories, the old understandings, and coming into the new. And yes, that is part of the government. That is part of the old system. We are all coming into an understanding that you have a tremendous movement to make. Remember the time back in the 1900s when your system was coming into the fruition of cars coming in and a lot of the technology of phones and the technology of understandings that way. And then back in the 80s when the internet came in and a lot of the computer system came in. So remembering that this is another evolution time for you. And it may not look the same. People freaked out. I'm going to use those words. I love those words in this lovely head of mine, of hers, that they came into not trusting the internet, but then now look how vast it is. Look how understanding it is. And then you think about how people did not trust cars as much as they trusted their horse. But then what is a car doing now? A car is a driving computer now, isn't it? It can do, like this dear one drove her mother-in-law's car, and the headlights went high and low on their own. She did not touch a button. That is the computerized system of the realities. Even the cheaper version of the car, her mother-in-law did not get the most top model car, that she actually has a lot of this technology, even though it's not paid in the fullity of the understanding of a $10,000 more car. So coming into this understanding that there are going to be things that are happening and you're going to have to discern, I love that word, discern your way through your stories of who and what is happening. Because the reality is that not everybody, not every human is going to be in alignment for this shift and change, as many want with the internet coming or the cars and the phone system coming. Who would understand the wires coming through the house could be safe electricity? Isn't that an interesting thought? How can you think that the wires of the house can be wireless now, right? We have had wireless knowings in our system for millions of years. And so coming into this, that as we come forward, that the shifting up is going to be the blessing of who you are. And it is up to you on how you get your way through this change. Are you going to fight it? Or are you going to go with it? In other words, are you going to be the fish swimming upstream to a lesser value of water? Or are you going to be the fish to come down and be in the ocean of the reality? That does not mean that you have to be like everybody else in the ocean. Every fish of the ocean, every whale of the ocean, every dolphin, every octopus. Oh, octopi are actually very star being-ish, aren't they? That they can change colors to suit their situation. Oh, maybe the Chinese New Year needs to have an octopi as their animal, huh? That would be a transformational year, shouldn't it? Well, I know that right now the octopi is part of the story of this next year. Is how can you change your colors to suit your situation, not necessarily your mood or your energy, but yet the way that you perceive it. You perceive the color. So come into this with understanding that you are going to be in a big tank of the realities of the world. Do not start your sleeping and worry because of something that is out of your control. This is going to be a year of you can only control what you can control, and that is how you react to something or interact to something. So you're going to learn that really the breath in, the breath out of this story of this year is going to be very important. So as you walk forward in your life, remember that, even though the Chinese New Year is the year of the snake, and the snake does not always change its colors, but the octopi do. The octopi are ones that do change up the energies. So come into your understanding that you can maneuver your way through a hole, because if you can maneuver through that hole, you will find your way through to the new understanding. In other words, does an octopi um, be able to get out of a fish tank, get through a hole, and go back out into the ocean to its choice is? Ain't that the idea that you want to be able to make choices in this world? So keep yourself very pliable to what you can maneuver into. Change your color if you need to. Be the chameleon, maybe a little bit more this year too, because the chameleon loves to change its color so it can be a little more discerning. So do not necessarily stick your head out and get it chopped off, but understand that sometimes you need to cloak yourself, negotiate yourself. There again is to get the dinner or get the ability to do it to your new home, because you have decided to be a little bit more negotiable in your day-to-day walk. So please remember that you are in the middle of something coming forward. Your planet has done a lot of this before, but not like this as the human form. So you are coming into understanding many layers of what the energy field is on this planet. And the energy field is more alignment in this way and this way, right? Because of the fact that you're working on, if you want to be down in the lower vibration of food and addiction and story and home and worry and hate and judgment and guilt and shame and all that stuff, that is the lower vibration. If you want to come up into the next dimension of manifesting and doing what you want and being here and understanding that this is coming forward, and then you come into the dimension of that you already have it, that you already understand it, that you already have that grace, that love, even if the realities around you are not having that right now. But you can have it in your inner understanding. That is the chameleon, that is the octopi, that you adapt to what is going on, but you don't have to be it. You can adapt to it. Now, does the octopi become the rocks, or does it blend into the rocks? Does the chameleon be the leaf or be the stick, the limb, or does it become part of the story of that energy? right? So you can become part of it. Then you come up into the other dimensions and the other realities that are higher vibration, and that is okay. But right now, you are all in the midst of this changing up. So remembering that, think about the times when your universe is pulling you into wanting judgment and story and pain because they are distracting you from the realities that are going on. And so remembering that us star beings are here to help you. We are here to negotiate with you. You are going to be seeing us more. There are many things that are going to be understood in this next year that is bigger than what you think it is. Yes, there are many things that are going to be coming onto this planet that are not in alignment for all to see at this time. And we are choosing certain situations and people to do this. Um, the uh, the things that were the androids, the things that were flying in the sky, that they are the drones, that's the word. They are part of the scenario of the new world coming in. This dear one saw a drone over her house the other day, and it was January 1st and 2nd when there was a lot going on, and the drone was taking an overview of the towns that she was living in. But she did not worry. She just said, "Oh, it's a drone," and she went back in her house to be where she needed to be, to cloak herself into what she needed and not be out there where people can see. It was dark. It was a moment. Her husband was a little bit more enthralled with it, and he understood it because he thought it was part of us, and no, it was not part of us. I was talking with Natasha here, and I told her what it was, and she felt safe with that. So coming into this, remember that you are going to be able to be in some timelines of fear and understandings, and other times you're not. But the more that you can get up and over the story that is happening, be above the story that is happening, and look down and see how can you play in that story, how can you maneuver in that story, honor it, be with it, choose to describe it, choose to interact with it. If there was a fire like down in other parts of this world right now, or disharmony like over in the Middle East here, that you are having the reality right out your front door, right? Or outside your walls that are not there anymore. So that is another reality to negotiate your way through. But we are here for you and with you, and remembering that there is going to be endings to a lot of this generational strife, as it is called, because there is new understandings coming forward. There is a lot of counsel going on with us beings, so that the earth can make it through this story. So trust this understanding that there are a lot of power to bees that of darkness that are starting to shift their way out, because we are doing the work to help love come in and understanding come in. I hope that this conversation has helped you in remembering that the journey is coming forward. We will be around you more and more as this year comes in, as this dear one will channel more to say certain things coming in. Jehoshaphat, my brother, will be coming in also. And then I do know that the Mother Mary and Raphael and Jesus Michael would like to come in too. So there are some understandings that are happening in this world of ours, and just remember that it's your perception that will help you get through it. Keep love and light in your perception of the forefront if you can, because that will help heal the work that is going on this planet. May love be with you, the children of this planet, and the knowers of this planet as you walk forward. So be. Whew. It's like coming back home when I get done with him. Whew. I hope that was helpful. I remember something about a chameleon and an octopus. Octopus. There we go. I guess that would be a good thing, wouldn't it? Well, I hope everybody is doing good here. And now I'm going to, wow. But remembering, I'm getting reminded, remember to relieve yourself of the emotions if you have worry about something. And Kim, if this might be helpful for you, remember to write things out without any description. It's okay if you just, write. I have this scenario going on and I need help with it. Right? It's not anything big or strong or anything like that. So, Veronica, I know you're going through some stuff. So be aware that sometimes you can journal without journaling. Okay. I really feel like actually that's something I should probably do. Have a notepad like this on my bed side and just start. So, Veronica, I hope you're feeling better. Let's see. Let's pull some oracle cards. Who wants to talk? All my cards have been kind of gently sleeping while I was on vacation. And this was kind of nice. Okay, so what I do is I pull oracle cards, remembering that if I pull a card for somebody that and the message rings true for you. So these readings could be for more than one person, but I do pull specifically for one person. So it will be the oracle cards. Let me wake them up. Ooh. Okay, so right now the hawk wants to come out and talk. So hawk is about getting the greater vision. Hawk is about understanding. Hawk is about seeing who we can be. Remembering that a hawk will fly with trust. Also, too, a hawk and the eagles fly with centeredness. They're not necessarily grounded, right? But they have a knowing. They have an understanding. They have a gift of understanding. So hawk wants to be with us in the energy. So get the bigger vision of what's happening more than you're going to get caught up in the individual story. Okay, so let's see, Veronica. Yes. Okay, so Veronica, you're more than welcome, Kim. Yeah, I would, because I know that you're going through a lot right now. So just write it down if you can, right? Without really words, because then you don't worry about it if anybody's going to read it, right? Okay, so let me get involved here. Center myself. See, it's about centering. I'm not really worried about grounding. I'm conscious of centering myself. Okay, there we go. Woo! Okay, so you have right now this card of restriction for Veronica. Restriction right now is maybe feeling like you're a little restricted because I know things are happening with your mom and dad, which you can't control. Things are happening in your home. You're a little bit, you text me about not feeling very good right now, which there's a lot of illnesses going around right now. And, I really get that people really got wiped out with a lot of the energies out there. So remember to take care of you and you can talk to your cells about being healthier, right? So be done with the restriction. There's one more card coming for you. Because you have the nightingale, right? So the Gale Knight. So remembering it's about staying in centeredness for yourself and giving it over. Sometimes we like to control things and it's about giving it over. I'm here to service you, Lord God, energies of the world around me. Please hold me in your love, as I walk forward. So the Nightingale is about romance, illusion, seeking the sacred. So remembering that in order to be out of restriction, come into centeredness and come into knowing that you have a truth that may not align with everybody else's. Yet at the same time, though, you can be I guess I'm hearing the chameleon. That's what I'm hearing right now. The chameleon to get your way through it. right? You don't necessarily have to be like everybody. Not everybody is our people, but we can be the chameleon to negotiate it. Okay, does that, I hope that helps, Veronica. Okay, so the next one is Paula. Paula, you would like a card. Hi, Jessica. How you doing? You'd like one, please? Okay. Okay. This is for Paula. What does Paula want to hear? Woo! Okay, so let's see. Frog right now. So cleansing house, releasing emotional baggage. So Paula, you got the frog, and it's about singing your own music. Remember, Song of Frog brings in the energies of the spring. It brings in, frog usually tells when weather change is going to happen. It's an environment thing too. So remembering that it's time for you to take care of you. I'm also hearing that be careful of what you're putting on your skin right now. And so going into this, that as you're moving forward, that frog wants to help you hop into your new knowings, hop to your new lily pad. It wants to help you through the emotions of the waters. Frog also wants you to know that, it's also about the stages. Sometimes you're the egg, sometimes you're the tadpole, sometimes you're the frog, sometimes you're eating the fly. Sometimes you have to negotiate it. Okay. You have amazingness in you. Okay, so there's one more card that wants to come for you, Paula. I'm getting a feeling here. Okay, there's the card. Joy. And joy is something that is a choice. Joy is something that we can have. So remember, gratitude, it helps us to get to joy. So as Frog wants to come in and help you, he also wants to help you bring in some joy. So joy card is the 37 card, which is a 10, which is a 1. So being in this new beginning, so remember to find joy where you can and do joyful things when you can. And negotiate that understanding. Okay. Yes, Kim, I can do that. Okay. You're welcome, Sue. I'm so grateful that you, that he did cross over, because I know sometimes with Alzheimer's, it's hard to cross over because the spirit and the body separate out, is what I feel. Okay. So let's see. Jessica. This one's for Jessica. Okay, so you have a couple cards here that came out. They're just jumping, actually. Trust and protection. So you got the two cards that said trust and protection. So remembering that as we walk and as we go forward, that if we trust the process and we trust wholly, it brings in an individual protection for us, because it is trusting, it's walking out on a limb. So how does a chameleon walk out on a limb? How does the octopus know when to change its colors to do its better, right? So, or it discerns what it wants to eat. So trust the process and remember that you're always protected. Even if it doesn't feel like it, you're coming into your truer power, empowerment. And so trust the process. So these cards are protection is 38 and trust is 47. Those are the two numbers for that. So I hope that helps. Trust the process because you are protected. Okay. I'm proud of you. You've come a long ways, my dear. You have come a long ways. Jessica, you have come a long ways. What an amazing gift you are. Okay, so Kim, now it's your turn. Thank you, everybody who's watching, even if you haven't spoken up. I'm so grateful for everyone to be here, and I do hope this message was a a cleaner message for you, and I hope that it's going to help you negotiate your story. I know that we're going through a lot of changes, and Kim, I know that you've been going through some big stuff too, and I'm so proud of you for how you've walked. I've just been witnessing a very strong woman. I've witnessed everybody who's spoken up today have been, oh my gosh, miracles in the walks, and I want you to feel honored about that. You're huge. It's huge what you've done. So good job. Okay, so for Kim. Woo! Okay, so one card has been love. So really, Kim, this is speaking about that individual choice of you loving yourself. You have done things that are beyond what some people would want to do, and love is the one thing that you can get over guilt and the shame of doing certain things and going against other people's belief systems and understandings. And so find love for yourself. And there's one more card here. Like a 2-card pull. Woo! Almost one. Because otherwise, the other side of that story is the goblin. The goblin wants to have disharmony. It wants to have the wounded ego. And so look in the mirror, my dear, and tell yourself that you love yourself, because this wounded ego needs to have love put over it to heal it. So remembering that we're all going to make choices, that we're going to have this scenario happening. The wounded ego, that the mind wants to make it disruptive. We have to disrupt the disruptor, and love is the one way we can disrupt it. Okay. It's an amazing story where we're at right now. And self-love is going to be the answer to a lot of what we're going on. Gotta check and see what's in my house. Was it my cat or was it something else? I've had a being that I had to get out of my house actually this last week when I came back. Okay, because we're all in the novice moment. This is a card for everybody right now. So we're in the novice moment. Right now, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Even us intuitives can see what can happen, but we have a lot of humanness involved right now. So we're in the novice area of life, but we are in the magic of things happening. But remember the old magic of Merlin, that it comes from the heartbeat of things. So come back to the center of you. Come back to that old knowing of the infant that you were a miracle in the works, that you were in the understanding, that your body can heal, your body can negotiate, and trust the transition that's coming in for you, because it's time to get the bigger picture. It's time to fly above it. It's time to work with it. It's time to be the octopus and change colors. It's time for the chameleon to change colors, as Mikael was saying. And remember that, as he's downloading me some of this information, that, it's going to be a year where we can have it. But remember that we have the stages of life. We may not know everything, but if we keep the magic going, we can get the bigger vision. So I do hope. Thank you, Paula. I love you to be here with me, and I love all the support that's been happening this time. And it's like my truths that I have, I'm hoping that I can bring support and love into this world, with knowing that there's going to be the crap that's going to be happening, but how do we discern our way through it? How do we do that? And it's about the breath in, the breath out. It's about understanding that we have a truth that we can have, that there is the wisdom that comes from us and the greaterness. And if we can do what we're doing and do who we are, it is time for us to really believe in us as individuals. We can control the energy of our home. We can interact with who we are in the story. We can be in the greaterness of who we are if we truly believe in us. And it's time for us to work through, without words sometimes, the shame and the guilt. If we can't tell somebody that something happened, then I did this and I am grateful to be able to get rid of it. Did you know I wrote that? No. So be willing to move through some of this stuff, even if you can't tell somebody, because they just won't understand. Okay. Hi, Deanna. Thank you for being here. This is my first time watching live. Oh, I'm so grateful you're here. Welcome to the new year, 2025. Again, I want to say everything is your truth. Your truth is your truth. I'm a perception. Mikael is a perception. And we just want you to be able to negotiate this world with some love and kindness for yourself and for this world. I'm Natasha Venter at intuitiveclarifications.com. I do private sessions to help people go through their life. I am one that really understands we're in a 3D body with emotions and story. We have a story of ourselves. How can we enlighten that and move that forward to come into our newer life that we're coming into? And I do that through intuition, with grace, with love, and with understanding that if I haven't done it in this world, I've done it in others. So why should I judge? May blessings be with you. May miracles be with you. And may the inspiration that I'm done with the resistance of my life being good. Done with the resistance of my life being good. I am receiving and understanding I have a blessed life. And I will leave you with that. I'm Natasha Venter at intuitiveclarifications.com. Bye now. See you next week. And also, too, remember, I do post regularly on Instagram, on TikTok right now. I don't know how long it's going to be here. It's still in the works. I feel like there's going to be something that comes up. And also, I also am on YouTube. So you can catch everything on YouTube is the best place to find it. Blessings be to you. Bye now.